Good morning. We're going to get started with the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. Ms. Maynard-Carey.
Thanks, Chairman. Members of the Commission, your first item is to conduct your first citizens participation period.
This is the first time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to provide public comment with regards to any matters on today's RTC agenda, please step forward to the microphone, state your name, and identify the matter on which you are speaking, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Dennis Hennessy, I'm just a driver. Y'all
Not
know
just
me, I
driver.
come up, talk every month. Goes in one ear and out the other for the most part. I've been talking a long time about transparency. The fact that MJ now has statistics that come up before as part of her GM process. Let's remember, you guys are all elected officials. And transparency is probably pretty important, especially this time of year when you got elections and stuff like that going on. Doesn't matter to this group up here. They're going to be here in 8-9 years because they don't get elected. You guys do. It's interesting, the statistics that we get, you make numbers sing. You make numbers sing to how you want to get the message across. Fixed route, ridership is down because of construction. You and I know that ain't why it's down. What I'd like to see added to that, since you won't give me the dollar amount on liquidated damages to this wonderful company that I work for, at least give the public what the on-time performance is. When you're giving those numbers about ridership up, ridership down, let's talk about, at least then maybe the public can get an idea of what is or is not happening. Last month, Mr. Atterbury got up and spoke about, and again, love the statistics. A lot of those statistics are us drivers getting reports to the right individuals. But Mr. Atterbury got up last month and talked about 25 to 26 month of February, passenger on driver assaults. There were 2 in 25. And his quote was, it went up slightly in 26 to 4. Guys, that's a 100% increase. That's not slight. That's a 100% increase. But the way we presented it lets the public think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's a 100% increase, guys. That's just wrong. You're misleading the public. It doesn't matter to them. It matters to all of you guys. Because you're the ones that are getting reelected or not getting reelected. I'm pleased to see the news media here. My friend Darcy Spears and Channel 13 are here. I really appreciate. We need to make these meetings more public because maybe then, instead of going in one ear and out the other, maybe when I get up and tell you, hey, what it's really like out there. The other thing in statistics I want to talk about is number of removals. Tom talks about that. How much they're up. I think it was close to 100,000 this year, if I could just finish this point. Intercom's practice is if you remove somebody off a bus, you find them to get on the next bus. Their practice is to take a problem off one bus and put it to another bus. Probably 80% of their guards do it that way because they want to appease the RTC numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Hennessy. Anyone else wishing to provide public comment?
Bernard Mullamed, 3111 Bel Air Drive, Unit 20A, 89109. My comments concern the proposed service and fare changes. I believe that is on the agenda. Okay, great. So I've long taken an interest in Las Vegas public transit. In fact, I was on the Citizens Advisory Committee that advised setting up a regional transportation authority in the mid-1970s. I've also been interested in improvements in Paradise and Winchester townships, particularly when I represented District E on the County Planning Commission, where Commissioner Segerboom should be sitting. Those townships have been my home for almost 60 years. In the interest of time, I prepared written comments for the board and for the staff, if you could. But in brief, first regarding service, and it's hard to see this on the handout, but apparently there's no longer going to be a stop at Vegas Valley Drive on the Red Line on Maryland Parkway. I'm surprised that your service proposal neglects stops at Vegas Valley Drive, a half-mile street where rider demand is high. I frequently ride bus 109 between Vegas Valley Drive and UNLV. Far more drivers get on and off at Vegas Valley than at Sunrise Hospital or Karen, where stops are proposed and new shelters are already in place. I hope that doesn't mean that changes can't be made. For many riders, the absence of stops at Vegas Valley adds quarter-of-a-mile treks in the summer heat to the Sunrise Hospital and the Karen Avenue stops. In addition, as I explained in my prepared comments, high-demand bus stops at Vegas Valley will shorten Red Line trips between Sahara Avenue and Desert Inn Road. The low-demand quarter-mile stops at Sunrise Hospital and at Karen can often be skipped, shortening trip times. Next, regarding fares, please don't raise bus fares, at least not on the Red Line along Maryland Parkway. I ride the 109, and it's clear that low-income and minority Las Vegans will be disproportionately hurt by higher fares. Raise fares on other routes if necessary. It's possible to have different fares on different routes, as for example on the Deuce. In my prepared comments, I make the case for 0 fares on the Red Line. This will particularly help disproportionately benefit low-income and minority riders.
Mr. Malamuth,
There's
you could wrap up,
multiplier
please.
effects that we could go into, but it would also help the effort to revitalize Maryland Parkway.
Thank you, Mr.
There's
Malamuth.
going to be a lot of new businesses there, and they could benefit if there were frequent and free
Thank you.
and shortly spaced stops.
Anyone else wishing to provide public comment? And a reminder, this is with regards to matters that are on today's agenda.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Green, and I'm here to talk about price increases, especially as a paratransit rider. For the price increases and the possible elimination of the bus passes, especially the 22 bus price for $40, would be a negative impact to riders financially. With the rising prices of food, for medication, for housing, it just would be very tough. In addition, I wanted to share about customer service as far as scheduling. When we call in to schedule, would love for the schedulers to ask the same amount of information as the Paratransit RTC, my Ride RTC Paratransit app. But if they don't, just be more receptive when we ask to add more information, especially directional information for the driver to get to us. And also to add information about the phone call settings and preferences. The next thing I also wanted to talk about is stranded. If we can find some type of improvement to keep people from being stranded, especially people who actually take the time to schedule a ride. They have a purpose, whether it's going to work or if it's medical or even recreational. People are getting stranded still, from their home or to their home. The next thing also, we have Silver Ride and User Rides were awesome, but if you can give them some more guidance and training, working with the blind community. So many are amazing, know how to guide us, know how to get us out of the car, get to the car. But it would be great to have some more, just making sure that they're getting refreshers and getting that training when they come on board. Also, another thing I wanted to share was, when we call into schedule, it would be nice to be, the callers are aware of how they sound. When we call in, especially if you're doing ride inquiry, you can't see, just imagine you can't see You're calling in, you're trying to find out your ride, and you have somebody that's curt with you, rude with you in your ear, and just doesn't have that empathy to understand that you're stressed and you're going through a situation trying to find your vehicle and see where it's at. And last, I just want to thank Terry and the employees from RTC who took the time to come to the Blind Center to help us with the app, to help us answer our questions and listen to our concerns. And last, we are, as a blind person, we do need help and guidance, and we understand that this is a work in progress. A lot of people are sharing it is a work in progress with the drivers, with the people who work with RTC, and Silver Ride and User Ride. But you guys are serving the community under the ADA Act, people with disabilities, and it would be nice that we not do the minimum, but if you guys can do better. That's my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to provide public comment? Please step forward. And if there's anyone else, please line up.
Stephen Brewer, 6209 Hale Haven Drive. The reason for my comment today is basically for the fare takeaways. The 22 ride fare. My son works at UNLV Dining Commons. He takes a paratransit bus. He works for Progressive Choices. Half the time, UNLV takes time off, and he doesn't need 46 rides. He needs 22 rides. But if he has to pay for 46 rides just to get a monthly pass, it hurts him. Yes, he makes minimum wage. A lot of the other people at Progressive Choices make $3 a day, the ones that work at the warehouse. $1 extra a ride kills a $3 a day base check. I mean, yes, I'm sure they're getting Social Security and stuff, but it's just not right. People need the help. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Norma Wood, and NORMA-WOOD. I'm going to talk fast because you've only given me 3 minutes. I am a Clark County resident, and I ride the RTC buses on a regular basis. And for the most part, I like doing so, as long as the prices are reasonable. But with the fare increases the RTC is proposing are not even close to being reasonable. Now, the RTC would like residents to believe that its fares are not going to be going up by more than 50%, which would already be an outrageous rate increase. If any other Las Vegas service provider or utility company like gas, water, electric, trash, phone, sewage, internet, if any of those propose such outlandish increases, our residents would be in an uproar. But the RTC is proposing something much worse. If you look closely at the proposal, some fares are increasing by almost 135%. And the way the RTC is doing this is by eliminating the 2-hour pass. The RTC doesn't want to eliminate the 2-hour pass because nobody's using it. They want to eliminate the 2-hour pass because everybody's using it. You see, riders and the RTC know that most locations, more than 95% of all locations in Las Vegas, can be reached by bus within 2 hours. And that usually requires at least one transfer. Because, let's face it, our city streets don't run in diagonals. They run north-south and they run east-west, so riders need to take at least one east-west route and one north-south route to get pretty much anywhere they want to go. Now, many times riders only need a one-way ticket, but by eliminating that 2-hour pass, currently costing $3, the RTC is forcing its riders to purchase a single ride ticket for every leg of their journey. So with the newly proposed plan, riders needing just one transfer will now be required to buy 2 single-ride tickets. And guess what? The price of those single-ride tickets is going up from $2 to $3. So now that same rider is going to have to pay $6, which is double what he or she is currently paying right now for the exact same ride. That there alone is a 100% price increase. And it doesn't stop there, because this isn't even considering riders needing 2 or more transfers, which is often the case. Now for them, the RTC is probably going to say, Oh, just buy a 2-hour pass. And that might sound feasible at first, but guess what? The price of the 24-hour pass is going up also, and that's going up from $5 to $7. So all riders requiring 2 or more transfers are now going to have to pay $7 with the newly proposed plan. So it's really, the price is going from $3 to $7 for the exact same ride within the exact same time period, and that is just shy of a 35% fare increase. And just to reiterate, not 35%, it's 135%. So no rate increase is higher than that, and bring back the 2-hour pass and bring back the 15-day pass also. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you'd like to submit your written comments, you're welcome to. Okay, do we have some additional public comment?
Hi, y'all. Thank you. I was going to come here really upset today.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Fantasy bias. Thank you. I was going to come here mad today, and then I talked to people like Antoinette and Yili, and I got really inspired and motivated, but I'm not seeing them behind here, so now I'm getting even more frustrated again, and I hope y'all listen to me. If the drivers and schedulers treated their grandmothers and grandfathers like they did paratransit clients, we would call it elderly abuse. But since they have RTC title, they're protected more than the disabled people they're supposed to serve. If I had $1 for every time RTC had an issue, I would probably have $7 million to fix this system too. Again, my name's Fantasy Bias. I've ridden RTC Paratransit, the fixed route, and also RTC On Demand. Since 2023, sorry, that's when I moved here. Sunday, May 17, 2026, this year, I took a bus, and the driver basically told me there's so many other problems and validated a lot of the concerns I had. I just learned this from one bus driver, revealing what we don't know about this company and the problems they have beyond the surface. He said all it takes is one driver to be interviewed and the RTC by the news, and the RTC would be exposed, in trouble, and turned upside down. He made me feel validated in 3 years of frustration as a client and years of problems for my friends and family who rely on this service every day, and not only every day, but to get from point A to point B. The driver said people had died, have missed appointments, gotten thousands of dollars in late fees, and have been left stranded with no service or with their kids, and so many other forms of disrespect to seniors, veterans, disabled people, and alike. Personally, I have had drivers make sexual and inappropriate remarks to me and or about other clients, revealing their privacy, their address, asking me if I know where they go, asking me if I'm friends with this person, and if I know if they've been this place. And scarily, they have all of our personal information, like our address, our phone number, and our name. I had one guy tell me last week, I don't need to take you, and sit in the back of my apartment complex with an RTC bus shut off, and him eating peanuts, sitting in the sun while I miss my medical appointment, get a $25 cancellation fee, and we wait for 2 hours for a supervisor to come, again, in the back of my apartment. These stories, on top of so many others, are just horrible for this transit service and should not be allowed for disabled people. No one has an ADA/disability training, much less are certified or have experience in CDL or truck driving. This was said directly from an RTC bus driver who was a trainer, and he said he had quit training because no one was willing to listen or learn, and the RTC, basically the system, just hired any type of person. Now, what job do you know where you can apply, get interviewed, get accepted, be on payroll, and still not have the qualifications for that position? I don't know. I've tried to apply for jobs, and they still won't let me have them. So they don't really have a desire to help their job or do their job right. We're met with hostility, hanging up an attitude, invalidation, condescending attitudes towards our daily and detrimental life challenges. I wonder what the average amount of complaints are every week, because I know I've capped out at about 10 per week. Please do not raise the fares, and definitely do not cut fare options. We do not have handicapped Lyft or Ubers and another option. Specifically, when only one chair can fit on the city buses, we don't have another option. After 3 years of riding the RTC, we are tired, and I really wish we'd put the $7 million to good use. I encourage everyone on here to go on Yelp and also look at the reviews of RTC. I have a lot more to say, but I'll be back. Thank you so much.
Anyone else wishing to provide public comment? Seeing none, we're going to close the first public comment period. I'll turn it back over to Ms. Maynard Carey.
Thanks, Chairman. Your next item is to approve the agenda. It's in order and ready for your approval.
I'll entertain a motion. There's a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And I just note for the record that Mayor Hardy, Mayor Berkeley, and Commissioner Segerloom are excused from the meeting today.
Thanks, Chairman. Your next item is to receive the CEO report, and today I'd like to start off with an acknowledgement of someone that has been with the RTC for a very long time and is very deserving of this recognition. I am thrilled to begin again to announce an exciting announcement about RTC's Chief Human Resources Officer, Decretia Harris. Decretia, stand up for everyone to see you because she's amazing. Decretia has been selected HR Professional of the Year by the Public Sector Human Resources Association of Nevada. Throughout her 26-year public sector career, Decretia has exemplified what it means to lead with professionalism, empathy, and integrity while building strong partnerships across every level of the organization. Her collaborative leadership style, and she can be fierce at times, has strengthened trust between executive leadership, employees, and union partners, helping create a culture grounded in transparency, engagement, and shared success. Decretia's dedication to public service and commitment to excellence in human resources truly make her deserving of this distinguished recognition. So again, Decretia, congratulations.
Great honor, congratulations.
And next, I'd like to recognize two amazing RTC staff members as superstars of the quarter. This first individual quickly became a standout member of the Transit Amenities Department through his commitment to sustainability, safety, and continuous improvement. He consistently promotes teamwork and collaboration while ensuring work is completed safely and effectively for the public. He has led innovative solutions, including improving bus stop trash security and designing a steel battery enclosure system that has reduced thefts and saved the agency significant resources. His ability to turn fresh ideas into practical results has improved operations and efficiency. In addition, he has emerged as a natural leader by mentoring coworkers, supporting skill development, and fostering a culture of teamwork, accountability, and growth. And so, our superstar of the quarter is Mr. Scott Wimler. Scott, stand up. Again, these are employees that are behind the scenes. You don't see them, but they keep the wheels turning. So congratulations to you and the entire team. Now for our second superstar. This individual has been an essential leader on the government affairs team, coordinating briefing materials for 14 lawmakers as RTC prepares for critical community discussions on transit service and revenue. She has demonstrated exceptional coordination, attention to detail, and cross-department leadership. She also led government affairs efforts for the Southern Nevada Extreme Heat Summit, coordinated elected officials, panelists, and community stakeholders while keeping communication and action items on track. Her ability to streamline workflows, establish timelines, and strengthen collaboration has improved efficiency and enhanced RTC's external engagement efforts. Through her professionalism, dedication, and representation of RTC at nearly 20 after-hours events this year, she continues to exemplify RTC's value of service, stewardship, and synergy while advancing the agency's mission. She is a one superstar show. I'm just so proud of her. Our second superstar of the quarter is Maria Nieto Orta.
Congratulations.
All right, you two, come on down. Scott, Maria, come take a picture with our commissioners. Great job, you guys. Great job, Team RTC. I sure wish Commissioner Segerblum was here because it was really his vision that enabled this next event that I'm going to speak about to be realized. On April 29th, 2026, the RTC in Southern Nevada Strong hosted the region's first ever Extreme Heat Summit, bringing together more than 200 community partners, residents, and stakeholders to tackle one of Southern Nevada's most pressing challenges. The event marked the official launch of the Let's Go Prepared, and that is the Southern Nevada Transportation Resilience Improvement Plan, which will identify transportation and infrastructure vulnerabilities across Southern Nevada and prioritize solutions for the communities hit hardest by extreme heat. A special thank you to Commissioner Tick Segerblum for his steadfast support in making this event possible, and to RTC Chair and Commissioner Justin Jones for taking the time to speak at the summit. We appreciate your leadership, Chairman. To recap the event and highlight the collaboration and momentum generated throughout the day, we'd like to share a short video of the event.
I want to thank you all for coming. This is our first heat summit. We are suffering extreme heat, so let's figure out how we can start now to make it better. We thought if we could hear from some experts, that might prompt some further discussions.
The climate crisis is not coming, it is here. This summit is absolutely crucial.
We are now living in the hottest period of human history.
The Extreme Heat Summit is important because we are currently experiencing an increase in extreme heat days in Southern Nevada due to impacts from climate change. That really taxes people's health and creates vulnerabilities in the community.
We convene and collaborate with all of our jurisdictional partners to problem solve.
It is more important now than ever to start addressing what needs to change and who needs to take ownership over the extreme heat response because people are dying.
I think to some degree we're behind the curve, so we're trying to play catch up today.
We have a little exhibit of what it feels like to be in a sauna, which is a bus stop.
I'd sit at a bus stop for 2 hours. It's overwhelming.
I've loved the energy here. There's been really vigorous conversation in the panels. I think there's a real appetite from everyone participating to try to move the work forward.
I think it was a really great first heat summit. We had over 200 participants here, elected officials, government agencies, university partners, social service providers, really the whole network of people who are really coming together to work to address this huge issue of extreme heat.
This plan is about giving our region the tools, data, and roadmap we need to respond to extreme heat in a coordinated, effective way.
Those things that we need to be adding to the system to make it cooler and more comfortable for people that are trying to get to where they want to go.
I just want to thank all of you for coming. We're not in silos. We can come together as a collective group and make Las Vegas and Clark County better.
I also want to recognize Deputy CEO Angela Castro. She's the one that actually, she and her team implemented Commissioner Segerblum's vision, and it wasn't easy, so great job, Ange. Thanks for all you do.
Whoever's idea it was to do the sauna, I don't know whose that is, but it was a fantastic idea and really proved up the whole point to everyone of what it's like to sit at a bus stop here sometimes.
Okay, and then we are going to go on to, we're nearing the end of the National Bike Month, and RTC, Club Ride, Bike Share, the Southern Nevada Bicycle Coalition, and Las Vegas Cyclery have hosted group rides, bike repair workshops, bike to work events, and glow rides across the valley, connecting our teams with hundreds of children, new cyclists, and biking enthusiasts throughout the month. Club Ride also reports that we've already nearly doubled the number of reported bike trips from April to May. With just over a week remaining, it's not too late to join the fun. There are 2 more events that are open to the public, the North Las Vegas Glow Ride and the Mesquite Glow Ride. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen or visit rtcsnv.com Bike Month 2026. Backsplash, not really. Backsplash. Yeah. Anyway, scan the QR code, everybody. Okay, and lastly, Deputy CEO Teresa Gazer will provide an update on our transit service.
Thank you, MJ. Deputy CEO Teresa Gazer. For the record, as we do monthly, I'd like to provide the update for our transit ridership and operations. This month, we will be reporting on March 2026. As a reminder, we report data 2 months behind due to data validation processes. In March, On Demand saw a 12% decrease in ridership. The Deuce on the Strip recognized an 8% decrease, and residential service ridership decreased by 2% this time last year. The on-demand ridership decline was a result of continued personnel constraints as well as daily decreases in ridership during that spring break week. The contractor and RTC are working closely to align on service delivery. The decrease in the Deuce ridership over this period last year can be attributed to Saturday ridership is our heaviest ridership day, and March 2026 had one less Saturday than the previous year. Additionally, there was significant construction along Charleston near Las Vegas Boulevard, causing more delays in the Deuce service. Finally, the construction along our busiest corridors, including the aforementioned Charleston, as well as Maryland Parkway and Flamingo, continue to be the main contributor in the decreases in residential transit service. Now I'd like to draw your attention to 14 of our 26 routes that recognize ridership increases. These 14 routes improved between 6 and 15% over this month last year. These improvements continue to be the result of improved reliability to schedule adjustments and changes in construction patterns. During the month of March, the contractor experienced staffing challenges. This was a major contributor to the increased levels of missed service that we saw in March 2026 over March 2025. During the month of March, our vehicle requirements are in alignment with the number of vehicles available in our fleet. In March, the fleet was undergoing maintenance as part of the summer readiness campaign. Next, I would like to share follow-up from April board meetings public comments that we heard. So starting off with restroom stops. In the last meeting, we heard from customers requesting restroom stops during their paratransit ride. The RTC's paratransit policy states operators are not allowed to make unscheduled stops or allow passengers to leave the vehicle mid-stop for restroom use. This rule is in place to protect our riders' safety, support on-time service to our customers, and ensure that all riders are treated consistently. Customer care can assist with scheduling trips with enough time and coordinating pickup and drop-off locations where restroom access is more predictable. We additionally heard from customers regarding inconsistency in wheelchair ramp deployment, which has been included in the recent bus operator ADA refresher training, emphasizing ADA procedures and customer service protocol. This also included reminding all operators that they can use the bus annunciator messaging inside the buses, asking passengers to clear the wheelchair seats when assisting with loading wheelchair passengers. We heard from one customer's concerns regarding safe access to the bus stop location near her residence, and we work with them to address this concern. We heard from a customer who had missed their train connection. The RTC carry-on policy states that customers are permitted to carry on only the number of bags that they are able to manage independently without the assistance of the drivers. Excess carry-on bags can create an unsafe condition. There's no way to secure those bags on the vehicle, nor leave space for other passengers. We heard concerns about the contractor's compliance with vehicle maintenance. After meeting with the contractor to review these concerns, the RTC is confident the contractor is in compliance as it relates to these claims. This includes replacement of floor mats for worn carpeting, removing temporary tape once new mirror adhesive has cured, compliance with vehicle registration, and the Zonar system used for fleet management is inspected for proper operation by the TransDev maintenance team during every preventive maintenance inspection. Lastly, we heard concerns about bus stops closures related to Maryland Parkway project. While the stops may look open, it is still part of an active construction area, and the traffic configuration is going to continue changing, making the stops inaccessible. The RTC and the project contractor developed a plan for routine stop inspections and signage at all stops along the Maryland Parkway corridor to inform customers which stops are in use and which ones are or are not available. Thank you.
Okay, next we have our Senior Director of Safety and Security, Tom Atterbury. to report on March safety and security data.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, Chairman Jones, council members. For the record, Tom Atterbury, Senior Director, Safety and Security for the RTC. Here's an update on safety and security incidents comparing March of 2025 to March of 2026. Removals specifically experienced a modest upward trend, increasing from 19,086 in March of 2025 to 20,489 in March of 2026. That's a 7.35% increase in removals. And just for the record, we've got about 40 days to go in the fiscal year, in fiscal year 26. We're at 183,881 removals, so we will most likely top 200,000 removals on our buses. Trespasses incidents showed a significant rise, increasing by 118% from 55 incidents in March of 2025 to 120 in March of 2026. Right now, we have 11 permanent trespasses from RTC property, and we're at 1,153 trespasses for fiscal year 26. Passenger on driver assaults, there was a minor decrease, declining from 3 passenger on driver assaults incidents in March of 2025 compared to 2 incidents in March of 2026. And passenger on passenger assaults had a slight increase, with 27 incidents reported in March of 2026 compared to last year when we had 26 in March of 2025. Any questions for me?
Any questions from the board? Seeing none. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, it sure does.
Very good. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll go on to the next agenda item.
Great. Thanks, Tom. That concludes the CA report, and your next item is to receive the Nevada Department of Transportation Director's Report by Deputy Director Mario Gomez.
Thank you, MJ. Morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to present today. For the record, Mario Gomez, Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance for the Nevada Department of Transportation. And so with that, I begin. National Work Zone Awareness Week was held last month, April 20th through the 24th. On the average, there are 1,500 crashes in Nevada work zones every year. That's over 2% of all crashes statewide. So in a 5-year period between 2020 and 2024, there were 5,157 work zone crashes in Clark County, and 22 of those have been fatalities. So with that, we continually advance education and safety efforts to raise awareness. So on the public education side, we've had a full campaign of work zone safety reminders. And there's also upcoming work zone safety education campaigns being planned by the Associated General Contractors, which is better known as the AGC, and they are operating under the Respect the Cone campaign. And so my next slide, NDOT is proud to be a partner of the Red Rock Legacy Trail project. It's a collaboration with Clark County Federal Highway Administration and the Bureau of Land Management. A grand opening celebration was held on April 28th of this year. The Phase 1 trail opening was years in the making and responds to community needs for safer, more accessible recreation. Phase 1 is a first step, meaningful project with more phases or improvements to come. This new multi-use paved trail improves access to pedestrians and bicyclists, and it helps reduce conflicts around State Route 159, which is better known as Charleston Boulevard. A new parking area allows for visitors to safely pull over and experience Red Rock. And so with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.
Any comments or questions? And I'll just say thank you to NDOT for its tremendous amount of work on the Red Rock Legacy project. Still a lot of work to be done on future phases, but it's great to have a good partner on this. Thank you.
All right, Chairman, the next item is to approve your consent agenda, which consists of items 5 through 21. It can be taken in one motion.
I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda. There's a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Chairman. The next agenda item 22, 23, and 24, I'm going to go ahead and present at the same time. 22 is to receive the fiscal 27 budget for possible action. Agenda item 23, Chairman is for you to conduct a public comment period on the tentative budget, and then number 24 is to approve the final adoption of this budget. So I'm going to turn over right now to our Chief Financial Officer, Shun Gutierrez, who's going to present the fiscal year 2027 budget for you.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, Chairman Jones and members of the board. Today, I'll be presenting the proposed budget for fiscal year 2027. The RTC's total budget for fiscal year 2027 is $1.24 billion for transit, bicycling, planning, roadway funding, and traffic management. This represents a $100 million decrease compared to last year's fiscal budget of $1.34 billion. The total funding sources equals $1.24 billion, sales tax accounts for $317.2 million, fuel taxes at $246.8 million, grants at $206.8 million, fares at $61.4 million, fund balance at $381.5 million, and other at $26.9 million. The sales and use tax revenue is projected at $316 million and budgeting $317 million for fiscal year 2027. This reflects a modest 0.5% increase, and this trend aligns with revenue expectations from your jurisdictions. Due to a decline in fuel gallons sold of about 3% fiscal year to date through December of 2025, we are projecting $69.4 million for motor vehicle fuel tax for 26 and budgeting $68.7 million for 27. A similar trend applies for FRI 1 with $84.7 million projected for 26 and budgeted $83.8 million for 27. The good news is FRI 2 continues to show growth from an $87.9 million projection for 26 to a budget of $94.3 million. This is driven by an FRI extension increase of $4.7 million for fiscal year 2027. The next 10-year FRI extension will take effect July 1st of 2027, and thank you, Board, for your leadership and support in extending this one. The fiscal year 2027 roadway funding is $690.3 million, $246.8 million from fuel taxes, sales tax at $66.6 million, grants at $44 million, fund balance at $332.6 million, and other at $0.3 million. The $332.6 million fund balance represents the remaining bond proceeds and grant reimbursements. The total transit funding sources is $538.1 million, $237.9 from sales tax, grants at $149.2 million, fares at $61.4 million, Medicaid reimbursement at $15.5 million, advertising at $5.2 million, fund balance at $42.9 million, and other at $26 million. The $42.9 million fund balance represents the remaining stimulus funds from the federal government. Now we'll look into the RTC funding uses. The total funding uses for 27 amounts to $1.24 billion, which equals our total funding sources. This includes capital outlay at $645.8 million, contracted services at $410.7 million, debt service at $116 million, salaries and benefits at $68.1 million. The capital outlay is budgeted at $645.8 million. $521.8 million goes to our roadways, which is distributed among the member jurisdictions. Transit at $122 million and admin at $2 million. The total roadway funding uses are projected at $690.3 million, including $521.8 million for capital outlay, debt service at $116 million, transfers at $51.8 million, and contracted services at $0.7 million. The total outstanding bonds to advance our roadway projects, the RTC utilizes a combination of debt financing and pay-as-you-go funding. So the total outstanding bonds for fiscal year 2027 are projected at $1.2 billion, $782.6 million comes from FRI, MVFD at $292.3 million, and sales tax at $112.9 million. The transit funding uses is $538.1 million, including $371 million for contracted services, $122 million for capital outlay, salaries and benefits at $29.1 million, and transfers at $16 million. Compared to 2026 of $562 million that was budgeted, this represents a decrease of $23.9 million, driven by efforts to identify ways to save funding. Starting July 1st, or fiscal year 2024, the competitively bid fixed route contract reflected a significant rate increase, mainly due to high labor costs, with inflation as a secondary factor. We have seen an increase in wages for the contractors, operators, mechanics, which contributed to the higher bids. For fiscal year 2026, we are projecting $175.5 million and budgeting $186 million for fiscal year 27. This represents a contractual rate increase, and this budget assumes the same level of service hours for from fiscal year 2026. Like the fixed route contract, the new competitively bid Paratransit contract has led to a rate increase starting fiscal year 25. We are projecting $97 million for 26 and budgeting $101 million for 27. This cost increase is contractually required under the existing agreement. In fiscal year 2024, with board authorization, RTC increased the number of armed security officers and security vehicles to provide a safe system for our operators and passengers. Additionally, RTC awarded the new competitively bid contract during that time. For fiscal year 2026, we are projecting $24.2 million and budgeting $25.2 million for fiscal year 2027. Again, the cost increase is contractually required under the existing agreement. The total transit capital budget is $122 million, including $99.5 million from grants and $22.5 million from local funding. Of the $122 million, $85.3 million is to replace our fleet due to their aging. This concludes the RTC's fiscal year 2027 budget. We welcome any questions and feedback.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. Any comments or questions from the board? No. If not, then I will go ahead and open up the public hearing on the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget. If there's anyone who wishes to provide public comment, please come forward to the microphone, state your name, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Dennis Hennessy, just a driver. One question. Through all that, where does liquidated damages and the millions of dollars you get back from the contractor because of their poor performance, where does that fit in your budget? Is that up there anywhere, or is that in the other? Thank you.
Any other public comment? If there's anyone else who wishes to provide public comment, please line up.
Hi, thank you for having us. Jareth, J-A-R-E-T-H, Embry, E-M-B-R-E-Y. And I also ride the RTC as well as drive sometimes. And I usually use the 15-day pass. So that's important for a lot of us who work, on the strip.
If you want, we're going to talk about the passes right
Oh,
now.
oh,
This is
okay.
about the budget. So if you
Just the budget,
hold,
okay.
Yeah, if you hold
So-
for a minute, then we'll get onto the pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did have an idea on it.
Sure.
That, of course, a lot of the money for the budget comes from bonds, right? Raising money for bonds. So I was looking, we're very competitive. We have a high bond rating, for example, compared to Nashville or Los Angeles or other major cities who host world-class events like the Super Bowl or F1 or the new baseball stadium that's coming with over 30,000 people. So my question is, for the budget, are there innovative ways that we can be diplomatic and work together to take, for example, like a small cut from the high parking fees now, or small piece of the price of the tickets, for example? Could we use that to say, hey, if you're going to be in our city and take state and federal funds, could we also have you have a stake in our city as well, in our citizenry? And people who have to come from far away, like parts of Summerlin, Centennial, or Nellis, for example, it's often regarded as a sketchy area. So in Silverado Ranch, with a lot of apartments and multi-level buildings there that have greatly expanded housing, and also the heavy traffic on Blue Diamond. So we want them to have more consideration for the labor and the people, whether you're in the union or not, who have to travel long distances and take a long time to come and work in service for you, who come to watch the game, or who come to enjoy your conference or convention, or even serve some VIP events. So we just ask that you have that in mind for the budget going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm Ramsey Mendoza. I heard that the fare was rising.
Yeah, we're going to address that issue up next. We're just talking about the budget right now.
Okay, is there another public comment after for the fare?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll come back.
Yep. Anyone else wishing to address the FY 2027 budget? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Just a quick, for everyone else, this budget does not reflect any potential fare changes or anything like that. This is just based on current costs as they are, correct?
That is correct.
Very good. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the FY 2027 budget. There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we will go to the next
Yep,
agenda.
thanks, Chair. We sure will. Agenda item 25 is to receive information on the Title VI analysis of proposed transit fare changes and conduct a public hearing. And so again, our CFO, Sharon Gutierrez, will present that to you.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. As part of our proposed fare adjustment that was presented to this board in April, the RTC is required to complete a Title VI fare equity analysis. The Title VI fare equity analysis will assess whether the proposed fare changes would result in either a disparate impact to minority customers or disproportionate burden to low-income customers with input through a public engagement process. In September 2025, staff convened a fare and service working group to discuss fare structure and pricing adjustment for transit and paratransit services. The working group included 19 community and industry stakeholders. As part of the fare and service working group, RTC hired a consultant to conduct a peer review of 5 transit agencies that are similar to the RTC in transit mode, service area, population, and passenger trips. These 5 agencies were AC Transit in California, King County Metro in Washington, SORTA in Ohio, TriMet in Oregon, and UTA in Utah. As we shared with you in April 2026, these are the proposed fares you have approved. These numbers shown in red are the proposed fare changes for transit services. For residential fares, the single ride may increase from $2 full fare to $3. The 24-hour pass from $5 to $7, the 7-day pass from $20 to $25, the new 31-day pass from $65 to $80. For the strip fares, the single ride may increase from $4 to $5. The 24-hour pass from $8 to $10. All reduced fare discount rates will remain the same at 50% of the full fare price. The numbers in red are the proposed fare changes for paratransit services. The single ride may increase from $3 to $4. The 46-ride monthly pass may increase from $80 to $90. As part of the Title VI, we are conducting a 60-day public engagement period for both transit fare adjustment and service changes. The comment period began April 24, 2026, and continues through June 23, 2026. Public notice of the comment period has been provided in English and Spanish through multiple outreach channels. Outreach efforts included information shared at our 4 transit facilities and onboard more than 900 buses and paratransit vehicles through posters, digital monitors, rider alerts, and transit Wi-Fi. RTC is also conducting community and partner engagement through 34 outreach events at transit facilities along high ridership routes and through Club Ride employer sites, through 450 partner and vendor emails, and approximately 12,000 postcards mailed to active paratransit customers. In addition, outreach has been conducted across multiple digital platforms, including rtcsnv.com, RTC social media channels, including X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. In-app alert from both Ride RTC and My Ride RTC Para, text alerts sent to more than 11,000 riders, emails distributed to more than 175,000 community members and customers, and our RTC blog reaching more than 50,000 subscribers. We are approximately halfway through the public comment period, and we have received over 5,300 comments to date. We are accepting comments through an online survey at rtcsnv.com/transit updates. via email at publicinput@rtcsnb.com, and in person at our Bonneville Transit Center, RTC administration offices, and public hearings like this one, and at customer and community events. That concludes our formal presentation.
And Chairman, I did want to note that we're looking forward to we're very pleased we're receiving so much public comment because it has been 15 years since we raised fares last. So we really are looking forward to engage with the public.
Thank you. I also want to note that Mayor Berkeley has joined us on the phone. And I did want to ask for some clarification based on the public comments this morning. Yes, we're talking about the fare costs themselves, but also about the reduction in the types of passes that we're offering. So can you, one of you, just talk about how we went about that process of reducing the number of the types of passes that we offer, and what that process is?
It was really a two-pronged approach. As part of our analysis, we looked at what other, just the way that other transit systems, the types of fares, the number of fares. We certainly offered, and today still do offer much more fare options here in Southern Nevada than almost any other transit system, based on our analysis. But the ones that we looked at eliminated were just based on usage. They are not highly utilized like the other passes. So it was strictly based, again, on usage.
And if the folks who provided comments here today want to provide those comments, they can still do so, and we'll
Absolutely.
consider whether to continue with those types of passes
That
if
is
necessary.
correct. Chairman, to your point, no decisions have been, it's not final, and really until we hear from the public.
Very good. May I ask Mayor Berkeley if you could mute your phone?
Mute my, yes, I'm sorry.
All good. Councilman.
Just one additional comment. So one, I am glad that we already have 5,000 comments coming in, that we still have more time for that. And I do recognize that we haven't made any final decision yet, because that point, especially about the 2-hour pass with the transfers, I think was very valid. So that's something, of course, I want to continue to discuss as well. So thank you on that.
Very good. And I'll just note again, these presentations were paired with one another. We're in budget cycle right now. Mr. Gutierrez presented the extraordinary cost increases that this organization and every other industry has faced over the last several years. Just in the last 5 years, the paratransit contract has gone from $43 million to projected $101 million. Our transit security costs, which again was demanded by both the riders themselves and the drivers, has gone from $11 million to $25 million. And none of us on this board with staff want to even suggest rider fare increases. It pains us to even put that out there. But by the same token, we also have to be able to provide for the services and for the pay that is being demanded by everyone in the system itself. And so that is why we are even having this discussion here today. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up the public comment period. Anyone wishing to provide public comment with regards to this matter, please step forward to the microphone, state your name, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, my name's Ramsey Mendoza. I just wanted to say any fare over $0 probably harms everyone who rides the bus. I've seen people thrown to the ground by security because they couldn't pay the fare trying to get home. I've seen mothers trying to get to their sick kids, had to ask me for $3. It's a really serious thing. Every 25 cents that the fare rises has a serious impact on the most vulnerable people in society. The bus is a critical service that everyone needs. I'm a rider myself. I don't own a car. So I just wanted to say it's really important to us that the fare stay low. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
I'm Stanton Holiday. I'm a bus driver here. I came to
endorse Transdev. I think they're doing a very good job on the one hand, but on the other hand, the testimony I heard from that young lady about the abuse, I'm only a driver, so while I'm talking to you decision makers, I hope you all take a really hard look at people that are answering the phones and taking
And
complaints.
if you're going to speak to those issues,
That's another, okay, let me go on to this then, okay. Anyway, my opinion of Transdev's performance since they've been here.
Again, sir, you can speak to that in another public comment period. Today is simply about the proposed fare increases.
So I can't speak on this today at all?
No, you can speak at the end of the meeting.
Oh,
We'll
I
have
thought this
another
was
one.
the end. This is the second time I did that.
No, we've still got 2 more public comments. so-
Okay, I hope you don't throw me out, all right.
Yep, yep. Yeah, have a seat for a minute, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Anyone else wishing to speak to the fare increases? I did have a couple of public comment cards, so Richard Ladnier. Oh, sorry. You,
Hi, Fantasy Buzz here. Sorry, I know you're saying line up, but that's not accessible for all of us, so I totally appreciate
Understood,
your
and I
patience.
apologize for
No,
that.
it's okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for being accessible for this. That being said, I know, so this is kind of about the fares, but if you want more opinion on these fares, you have to open up these meetings to be virtual or somewhat accessible for people who cannot make it here. I would have to take RTC at 7:05 a.m. actually, just to get here at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I chose not to do that because I do have a partner who takes me. Cool. I was just saying, like, virtual, I know the mayor's here. Thank you for being here virtually. If everyone else can be there like that, I promise you'll get 5,000 more people telling you their opinion. Or if you put these surveys on the bus driver, on the rides that we have, I promise you'll get more opinion about this, what we're talking about. So other than that, I'm just wondering what, like, transit, I guess, y'all are comparing things to, whether it's like in the city or to other cities. Because I know about 5 different cases where their RTC have gotten sued for actually increasing the fare, as well as some RTC, like in other states, they're completely free. They're completely subsidized by the state. So that also like perks up my ears of like, why is there even a fare in general? Some bus drivers have actually said too, I don't know why there's a fare too. So it's just my curiosity. I know I don't know much. Yeah, and other than that, I was just kind of wondering, with the fare, like, what more do y'all need to know beyond the 5,000 no's, you know, or the 5,000, like, hey, I cannot do this. This is hard for me. I know y'all talked about inflation when it comes to the budget, but think about inflation when it comes to our daily lives and how much, like, $1, $2, $3 goes a long way every single ride.
Thank you very much. Let me just hold 1 minute. Do we have any others who need a microphone in the back?
Thank you. My name is Patricia Manning, and I use the transit, Paratransit. Any increase would hurt us. We realize that there is a need for the drivers to receive more pay, etc. But one of the main things is taking away that monthly 23 ride. For people like myself who have many medical appointments. Sometimes it's every day that I will have to have a medical appointment. To have to carry cash and take out cash where I'm a disabled person, I cannot walk by myself. I have to use the cart. That's another issue, having to carry money with me and pay for a ticket. So not only does the increase affect me, where sometimes I have 31 days of medical appointments, but having to carry that cash, not being able to purchase a monthly ticket. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the drivers who I find very courteous.
Thank you for the feedback. Anyone else needing a portable microphone? If not, then we'll go back to, oh, sorry. Sorry, up in front.
One of the concerns I have is for the 22 pass.
Ma'am, you have to state your name for the record.
Sorry, my name is Sherry Green. I just wanted to read about the 22 pass for $40. That I really pray that that does not go away. To imagine that people have to pay rent, and some people are paying $1,300 per month for just one bedroom. On top of that, you think about food, you think about people paying for their medical insurance, you think about people who, as a paratransit rider, I have been on the bus, and there's people that actually have to take a Uber just to get to a area where they can be picked up because they're outside of the 3.75 mile bus stop. Now they have to pay extra money to do that, plus to get themselves to that stop. And again, food, and people who have childcare, they gotta take their kids. If they gotta take their kids somewhere, that costs money, in addition to also get to work. So at least if you could just keep the $20 to $40 pass, that would be helpful, especially the paratransit people. A lot of people in that community, they're not working. So they're really on a limited amount of money that they can spend on themselves. Now you're gonna have to worry about transportation. So please just reconsider it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else needing a handheld microphone? Seeing none, we'll go back to the main microphone here.
Hi, my name is Derek Diali. So I have been taking the bus since 2018, since I started working. So all I've known is the 65 pass. So I find it really crazy how we're trying to make the 31-day pass $80. So we're gonna have a 1-day increase, and I have to pay $15 more for that 1-day increase. I think also taking away the 15-day pass is just really ridiculous. Taking away the middle ground for all the fares is really insane to me, especially for paratransit riders. Literally taking away majority of their options. They had 5 options as of right now, and you're only gonna give them 2 options. 2. So they're gonna have $4. They either have to spend $4 for one single ride or $90 for a 46 ride. But there's no middle ground for that. And also for us, for the regular residents, we either get, for the people who take the bus every single day, we do the 7-day pass, which is gonna be $25, or we go to the 31-day pass, which is gonna be $80. So how do we go from $25 to $80? I spend $65 every month just to take the bus, and the bus isn't even a luxury at this point. It's never been a luxury. If anything, the bus keeps getting worse. Just the other day, I had to miss 2 buses because one bus just didn't want to be in service, and then the next bus was back to back. Then when you get on the bus, you're packed in like sardines. So I'm really confused as to why we are getting these luxury prices now for the bus, but nothing is luxury about the bus. Graffiti everywhere. The bus feels like it's about to fall apart at any moment. Buses are back to back 3 times in a row. So what's changing? I really don't understand. What's the big change to make it $80 for people like me who don't have a car, who need to get to the places from day to day? I use the bus for everything, to go to my job, to go to the grocery store, to make an appointment, to go to the doctors. Every single thing, and now it's gonna be $80 onto my budget, on top of everything else that is also getting expensive, but nothing is changing within the bus system. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to provide public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period, and I will entertain a motion.
Actually, I have a question.
Comment? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I just have a question for our CEO. So right now, we're still in the listening phase, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, there's been no determinations, the outcome of the fare increase or the pass eliminations as proposed, because we're in the public comment period until June 23rd.
So when is the listening period? Just there might be a lot of people here who are not they're not up as to what the timeline is that we're looking at for the actual vote on the increase. So we're still in the listening phase. What is the full timeline here?
You know, I'm going to ask Angela Castro. She oversees the media marketing team, and she'll, again,
and maybe Mr. Gutierrez can put back the slide up there.
Yeah, sure. Go back to that slide. Yeah. And do you want to talk about the ways in which we're reaching out to the public?
So just so we're clear, we have posted it on multiple channels. The way the timeline is going to work is this is through June 23rd. Following June 23rd, we're going to assess all of the comments, update you on what those comments look like, and then we believe we may be taking it as early as August, maybe a little bit later, depending on where we're at in the process for your vote. Now, we still need time, though, to communicate out the changes to the public. And so assuming that if that timeline and everything lines up accordingly, we want at least a minimum of 90 days to go out and make sure that the community understands and knows what changes are coming. So the earliest time would be January 2027 is the earliest time. So we're in the public comment period right now. It wraps up June 23rd. We have posted multiple different ways people can provide their comments and feedback. The team will conclude, review everything, make sure that we're federally sound through the Title VI process, provide you with recommendations. Earliest time is probably in August, and then earliest time where we would implement after full communication of us going out and making sure everybody understands and knows is in January 2027.
And Chairman, I do want to add that while we're receiving public comment period, really probably the most pivotal piece of this is the Title VI analysis, because it is intended to look at the disproportionate impact to low income and communities of color. So nothing will be done until we certainly get the result of that Title VI analysis.
And we're doing things like, I know just how important QR codes are. So maybe when riders get on, we probably have like a QR code for riders to check that out and scan it and maybe even do a public comment while they're riding the bus, right?
That is correct. And so we have, actually, if you ride the bus, we have tear sheets that are going on the bus as well, where they can scan the QR code. For those that cannot scan the QR code, you can call in, you can also email in, you can also visit any of our transit facilities and our administrative offices as well. We try to find every avenue where we can easily make it accessible to our customers.
And Spanish?
It is both in English and Spanish, correct.
Any Tagalog? That's our third most important language in Nevada.
You are correct. I believe you can translate it on certain areas, but in terms of where we're going, if somebody requested it, we would have it available.
Yeah, but okay, so most certainly it's bilingual, so people, I know maybe it's coming as a shock, to some of our riders, some of our customers, some of our stakeholders, really, our clients. I get it. I think, like everyone else here on the board, we're just regular people here too. Hey, I'm retired, and although I'm very blessed to have the money coming in from that city north of Vegas, I get some money from that. At the end of the year, I know I'm losing my insurance, right? So really, I think in a lot of ways, many people who are here on this board, we're in the same boat as everybody else is, right? That being said, there are so many things and I really appreciate the measured way in which the RTC is doing this. It's not going to be done where we're just pell-mell doing something. This is not a private entity that merely moves with the market, the way the market fluctuates. As people could see on the presentation. As much as I know it is painful and it's money out of our pockets, right, as the public, the fares are actually a very minor portion of the money that's actually spent to operate this endeavor. And we have demands that are made of this agency. And I get it, we saw here, we've had a demand for more security because, again, that's what our riders, our employees ask for. But that comes with a cost. We can't just ask people to all of a sudden just ride our buses and monitor the stops for free. That comes with a cost. Hey, don't look now. I know I am blessed to have a couple of vehicles. I own a couple of vehicles, but I'm not paying the same insurance that I was even a couple of years ago. That's gone up. We have to insure our vehicles. That's another cost that, of course, that does get factored in here. And I'm certainly not paying the same in fuel that I was even a few months ago. That being said, I'm very, very confident that we have a way to listen. Nothing's being decided right now, and we're going to listen. The one thing that I think that our governments, we have some time to make a decision, but we're going to have to make a decision. but we will listen, right? And I would just, again, ask people to weigh in. Let us know. But in the end, we're going to have to make we're going to have to make some decisions. And I appreciate, like for instance, on the the 2-hour pass, right? I really appreciate when one of the members of the public coming in and voicing her concern about that 2-hour pass, because again, normally when I ride the bus, it's only like a one-way kind of thing, one way there and one way back, and so normally I don't have to do transfers, right? So it's good to know those concerns. And that's what this period's all about. So thank you very much.
I don't think we actually have to have a vote on this one.
I don't think we
so I
have
think we
to
just
vote.
move on to the next agenda item if that's
Yeah,
okay.
most definitely. Maybe a cede to my colleagues who might also have a comment.
Any comments? Okay. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 26.
Great, thanks, Chairman. Agenda item 26 is to receive information on the fixed route transit service changes and also to conduct a public hearing for that. Senior Director Sabrina Glenn will present to you.
Okay, good morning, Board Chair. Sabrina Glenn, Senior Director of Transit for the record. The RTC is proposing a service change to the fixed route transit system on Sunday, August 23rd of 2026. Several critical elements were considered as part of this service change, including the highly anticipated launch of our Maryland Parkway Bus Rapid Transit line, the CCSD bell time changes, as well as, similar to previous years, the Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix related detours and schedule changes. It is very important to note that the proposed service change is cost neutral and will greatly support enhanced service for our customers. Before we review the proposed changes, I would like to reiterate that, similar to the fares, we have public comment through Tuesday, June 23rd. As part of the August service change, the Maryland Parkway Bus Rapid Transit, which we are calling the Red Line, is set to launch, replacing the current Route 109. During most hours, the route will run on a 12-minute frequency, providing service between downtown Las Vegas and the South Strip Transit Terminal, with access to key destinations including Harry Reid International Airport, UNLV, Boulevard Mall, Sunrise Hospital, the Bonneville Transit Center, and the City of Las Vegas Medical District. With the launch of the Red Line, the Centennial Express, also known as the CX, will be restructured to eliminate duplicative service, improving efficiency of the route and overall network design. This restructure will provide new connections to key routes such as the 210 Lake Mead, 209 Vegas Owens, and 208 Washington. In addition, the restructure will provide a quicker connection between the Bonneville Transit Center and South Strip Transit Terminal, while also providing a new highly desired connection to the resort corridor back of house, as well as connections to the 201 Tropicana and 202 Flamingo. I do want to note that while riders traveling from Centennial Hills to UNLV or Harry Reid International Airport may no longer have a one-seat ride, they will have more frequent and quicker connections to these destinations by transferring to the Red Line at the Bonneville Transit Center. There are also two frequency changes that are being proposed. The first includes adding an additional 5 minutes to the Route 401 North Outlet Symphony Park, which provides connections to tourists and locals to the Deuce on the Strip, North Outlets, and the Fremont Street area. The second is adjusting the Route 209 Vegas Owens frequency from 60 minutes to 30 minutes. This route has continued to exceed ridership expectations for hourly routes, and as a result, experiences overcrowding, which leads to delays. As with our fare updates, we have a 60-day public comment period that runs through June 23rd. Similar to the transit fares, we have notified our customers, partners, vendors, and community through transit facilities and vehicles, engagement events, emails, postcards, and a number of digital channels, as mentioned previously. We are approximately halfway through the public comment period and have received over 1,000 comments to date, specifically regarding the transit service changes. As with our fare updates, we are also accepting comments online, via email, and in person through June 23rd. This concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Glenn. Councilman Knudsen.
Thank you, Chair. I had a couple of requests.
One, and this kind of relates to the previous presentation, is this is a highly regulated industry at both the federal level and at state level. It may be helpful in the next meeting or two to kind of go over what are all the federal regulations, including the titles that govern how we're able to operate, because there are some things that we're in control of and there's a lot of things that we're not in control of. And just as an RTC board member, it's pretty complicated how many agencies and regulations govern what you can do and what we can't do. So that's just a request. On the second request, I've had representatives from the medical district not completely aware of the changes that are going on with the Maryland BRT. And so with that launch in August, I was wondering if we could do something to kind of make it a big splash, just to make sure that everyone is aware that they can see beyond the orange cone to an actual BRT wrapping around and bringing them to places. That'd be great if you could do that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I just want to note on Maryland BRT line, seeing the red lanes painted over the last week right outside the government center was pretty exciting and really shows the amount of progress that's been going on. So very excited for that project. Mr. Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the construction there in Maryland Parkway. Just real quick, again, I know that one of our customers or one of our riders definitely has some issues here with a couple of stops. Can you maybe explain or speak to a little bit of the metrics in deciding if there's going to be some changes to particular stops? Again, I know I'm not the numbers kind of person, never taught math, right? I understand a little bit, right? But can we maybe just speak to the metrics that are involved when we're considering, raising frequency of routes and maybe or changing maybe where some of the stops are at?
Yes, absolutely. So this project, One Maryland Parkway, I think it actually started 20 years ago. And so there has been a lot of work done between then and today as it relates to how the corridor is going to be designed and function. Because this is a bus rapid transit line, it does have a little bit more extended spacing between stops than what we would usually look to do within a quarter mile. Most of the time, based on available land and the structure of the roadway, we try to space stops every quarter of a mile. But to maintain the frequency and the flow of a bus rapid transit line, right? So between regular fixed route and maybe a rail system, bus rapid transit falls somewhere in between. There is a different spacing that is allocated for those stops along the corridor. And so in some cases, we did have to make some very tough choices as it relates to where stop locations were being placed. And part of that was, as many people have seen along the corridor, these brand new, beautiful shelter designs, there is not space everywhere for the amenities that are included along with a bus rapid transit system. And so that was also part of what was considered as we developed the lanes. Absolutely.
Very good. Any other comments or questions? If not, thank you, Ms. Glenn, and we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Thanks, Chairman. And I do want to note that if not for the $150 million that we received in federal grants, this project would not have gotten off the ground. So we appreciate the support from our federal delegation. And so now the last non-consent item is to receive an update on our paratransit technology. And again, as the board knows, this transition to, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Antoinette. Wait, one sec.
Oh, sorry, do we have to go public?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, my apologies. All right, we're gonna go back to agenda item number 26. We're gonna open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to provide public comment with regards to the fixed route transit service changes, please step forward, state your name, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Bernard Mollenwood. She just spoke about the trade-off between frequency and numbers of stops. And again, I'm addressing the absence of a stop at Vegas Valley Drive on the Red Line, the proposed absence. And I want to point out that there's high demand for that stop, whereas there is low demand, if anybody's done an OD study, there's low demand at Sunrise Hospital and at Caron. And if people who really need the Vegas Valley stop have to go to either of those two stops, the bus is going to stop there. there'll be more stops. Otherwise, when people get on at Vegas Valley or get off at Vegas Valley, the bus can often skip the stops at Sunrise, certainly Sunrise. That stop is rarely used. I understand why it's needed for, it's a hospital and it's a destination, but still, it's rarely used, if anybody's done a study on that. And just that, if you're concerned about frequency, there ought to be a stop at Vegas Valley, whether there's a shelter or not, okay? It may not get set in concrete, but there ought to be a stop there. Also, since I have another minute, let me make a comment about the 401 schedule, because that was brought up just now. It ought to start earlier so that folks like you who work at Government Center can come by bus. I had to walk from the Bonneville Transit Center to get here. And, it's kind of hot. And also, that schedule ought to be extended into the evenings because people maybe be able to get to destinations like the Arts Center and Symphony Park early, but then they can't get back using that same arrangement when the 401 ceases to operate past 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. And if there's anyone else that wishes to speak to the proposed fixed route changes, please step forward.
Morning, Noah Astor. I just have a quick concern on the fixed route change on the CX. The CX is the only line we have that goes to Terminal 3 in Harry Reid. My understanding is the CX will terminate at South Strip, and they'll have to get on the 109. Yes, the 108 and the 109 go through Terminal 1. What about the people that work in Terminal 3 and as well as the vacationers that come in Terminal 3 that hop the CX to go to the Strip? They're now forced to take a shuttle bus from Terminal 3 to Terminal 1. I don't think that's going to go over well, especially with the people that are working in Terminal 3. So it's just something we should consider before you actually make the actual change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to provide public comment? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment period on agenda item number 26, and now we will go back to agenda item number 27.
All right, thanks, Chairman. So before I ask Antoinette Braddock, who's our Senior Director of Paratransit, to present to you, as you know, we did a huge software system overhaul in March, and it did not go over well at all. The first couple weeks, the service was actually terrible for our customers. And we made certain demands on Rideco, the software company, to, boots on the ground and to address those concerns. The Rideco CEO was here last month, and he's here again today. It's Mr. Prem Gururajan, and he's going to co-present with Antoinette because I really think it's important that you understand some of the incremental progress that has been made. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn over again to Antoinette.
Thank you, MJ. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, my name is Antoinette Braddock. I am the Senior Director of RTC Paratransit and Specialized Services. RTC recently transitioned from our previous operating system to a new modern technology called Rideco. This transition was necessary for two reasons. Our previous technology had reached the end of its useful life, and it needed to be replaced. And our paratransit service has outgrown the old system, and we require a more advanced platform to improve efficiency and provide a better customer experience. The full launch of Rideco began on March 11, 2026. We acknowledge this transition did not meet our expectations, and it impacts our customers. They were unacceptable, those impacts. The transition caused disruption and negatively affected our customers and did not provide the level of service our customers deserve. Since that time, RTC staff and Rideco staff have worked every day to get this right, to resolve these issues. Together, we are monitoring performance, improving the system, supporting our drivers and staff, and most importantly, restoring the trust of our customers. Although there is still work to be done, we are seeing meaningful progress. This graph compares our average weekday performance under the old system with what we have with RideCo. Under the previous system, 89% of completed trips were picked up on time. This means that 89% of rides arrived within the scheduled pickup window, while 11% were late. If even just by a second, they were late. During the week of May 10th, which was last week, under the RideCo system, 87% of completed trips were picked up on time. While this is slightly an improvement, we were encouraged by these changes, but we're also seeing customer complaints are decreasing. Trips delayed by more than 30 minutes are becoming less infrequent, and the overall system improvement or the overall system performance is improving week by week. Improving on-time performance remains one of our highest priorities. In addition to improving technology, we know it is equally important to listen to our customers and rebuild trust. RTC has been meeting regularly with high ridership community partners, including Opportunity Village, the Blind Center, Nevada Community Enrichment Program, and dozens of dialysis clinics. These conversations help us better understand the challenges our riders are facing and allow us to work directly with partner organizations to improve our service. We are also meeting with our customers where they are. We are going to their workplaces, to the partner organizations where they go and spend some of their day. We are meeting them at medical and therapy appointments. We want to hear firsthand what they need from us. One of those things you heard today is a cashless option. Customers don't want to use cash, and there are customers who simply can't use cash. And under the RideCo technology, we have the ability to help them with that. These conversations help our customers, and we learn firsthand. To gather even more feedback, RTC has conducted a survey. It started on May 4th, and it went through May 15th. We received more than 1,400 responses, and here are some of the results. 59% of our customers said that they are somewhat or very satisfied since the launch of the new system. 64% of the riders said that they are on time either always or most of the time. 58% said scheduling and managing their rides is either very or somewhat easy. 71% rate their overall experience as excellent or good. And then 62% said that they have already seen some significant improvements. This feedback is helping guide our work as we move forward. At this time, I would like to invite RideCo CEO and co-founder up to share some more of what they're working on.
Thank you, Antoinette, and thank you, MJ. Good morning, Chairman and Council members. My name is Prem Gururajan, co-founder and CEO of RideCo. At the last RTC board meeting on April 9, I acknowledged the challenges riders experienced during the transition to our new technology platform. Today, I'm pleased to share that we have made significant progress in improving the service. I'd like to briefly explain the issues we identified, the actions we've taken, and our continued commitment to delivering the level of service RTC riders expect and deserve. One challenge we discovered was that some address data from the old system did not transfer correctly, which caused routing errors and delays. So here's what we did. We worked with your team, we reviewed and corrected more than 3,000 addresses, improved the address accuracy to 99.8%, and we continue to make daily refinements. On the second point, Las Vegas has many partner agencies where multiple riders travel to and from the same locations, creating heavy demand at these centers during peak times. So here's what we did. We increased the use of shared rides for passengers traveling to similar destinations. This improved the efficiency and freed up more vehicles to serve additional customers. On the third point, some of the legacy internet equipment in the vehicles limited drivers' ability to receive real-time trip updates. So what we did was install new SIM cards in the vehicle tablets. And this achieved an 89% improvement in real-time connectivity. This is especially important because the RideCo platform continuously adjusts routes based on live traffic and trip conditions. RideCo absorbed the initial cost of these hardware upgrades as part of our commitment to RTC and its riders. On the fourth point, some customers experience difficulties using the customer app's security features, which led to confusion and increased call center wait times. So we simplified the login process, improved the app messaging to make instructions easier to understand. These actions have already contributed to better on-time performance and fewer delayed trips, and we will continue building on this progress every week. In addition to resolving early challenges, customers are already benefiting from several important improvements made possible by the new RideCo platform. Here are some of the new benefits for customers. Simpler trip booking through the customer app, online portal, and phone. Real-time vehicle tracking, allowing riders to see when their vehicle is on the way. Improved communication, including text alerts when vehicles are approaching or have arrived. And easier trip cancellations through automated phone options. We're seeing strong adoption of these new tools. Already, 16% of the rides are now being booked through the new RideCo customer app and online booking system. RTC aims to achieve a 30% adoption rate for app-based ride bookings within 6 months of launch. And we're well on our way there. Improved eligibility process. The new system has also streamlined passenger eligibility by making online applications visible immediately after submission and automatically updating eligibility dates. RideCo is fully committed to RTC and the Southern Nevada community. We understand how important reliable transportation is for the people who depend on paratransit every day, and we are committed to continuous improvement. Our focus moving forward is to continue improving on-time performance, enhance the rider experience beyond previous service levels, support RTC staff and drivers with better tools and technology, and importantly, build long-term trust with customers and our community partners. Our shared goal is simple: to provide safer, more reliable, and more convenient paratransit service for every rider. Thank you, and we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. And I'll start off first by saying I appreciate the tremendous work that RTC's team, Antoinette and her team, have put into this, and obviously RideCo being here on the ground every single day. A lot of improvement from 30 days ago, but at the end of the day, our paratransit customers expect above and beyond that. The on-time performance is the #1 concern that they have. And while it is much better than it was in March, we're still not hitting at 87% on-time performance. We're still not to where we were with the old app. So we got to do better than the old app. We can add new features, and that's great. But if the on-time performance isn't there, then it's a bit academic to talk about pay options and other things. So my challenge to you is going to be that in 30 days that we exceed the on-time performance that we were at with the old app as of February of this year. So, all right, Councilman?
I'll be a little more direct. I find it abysmal, your results. To come up here and say that we're making significant progress, we're making improvements, when you haven't, as Commissioner Jones just said, even met what the old app was even achieving. And so you talk about extra benefits. You know what the biggest benefit is not being late. The biggest benefit is being on time, and you're not meeting any of those. So my direct question to you, sir, is when will you meet what you're expected to deliver? How much time do we have to wait? It's been 4 months.
The on-time performance has been improving every week. Even this week is better than the metrics that you see here. And
What is
we're
your
committing
goal?
to.
What is your goal on the on-time performance? What are you supposed to deliver?
Our goal is to meet and exceed the previous performance.
Which
and
was what percentage?
at the 89%.
So your goal is to get 89. When are you going to be past 89%? How
My
many
goal
weeks
is to
before
be
that
here at the
happens?
next board meeting and share an on-time performance that's better.
No. When will you meet 89%? Not better, meet or exceed 89%?
As I mentioned, by the next meeting, as the chair mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you, and we will expect another update at our next board meeting.
All right. Chairman, the next item is to receive information from our legal counsel. As there are no items to discuss, we can move on to our last agenda item, which is to conduct your final citizens participation period.
Thank you. This is the second time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to provide public comment with regards to any matters before the Regional Transportation Commission, I'm going to ask you to step forward, but I'm going to ask you to hold for just a minute. Anyone who needs a portal microphone? Ms. Jones?
Hi, my name is Shelley Jones, SHELLEYJONES. And I'm going to point out that a lot of people that ride paratransit and the fixed route, they get paid at the beginning of the month. Besides having to pay for rent and utilities and food, they also pay for their passes and coupons. And that will last them the whole month. If RTC takes that away, you're restricting people from going to the doctors, going to the grocery store, going to pick up their medication. You know, this is ridiculous. I know that Paratransit has not raised their fare prices in 17 years, according to my research. And if you're going to raise the prices, that's fine. But make it affordable for people. Don't make it unaffordable for people, and don't make it crazy for people. They need their passes, they need their coupons. This is absurd. It's ridiculous. Because if it was your people that take public transportation, you would make sure that they would get to and from their destination. So you need to take us into consideration as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Mr. Burrows?
What I was going to talk about has actually changed since I talked to one of the people from the paratransit earlier. He told me that the reason that the new buses don't kneel all the time is because they're not properly working. Why are we buying new buses that don't work properly? Who was the smart one that said, oh, let's buy the broken buses? That's a good idea. The guy that told me that made me want to chuckle inside, that he's telling me that the buses that we bought actually don't work. Why would we even, well, it's not a we, why would you guys even buy buses that don't work and say, oh, it's okay, they don't do that, that's fine. That's one of my issues. The other issue that I have is with the GPS on this new system, when you go to a certain location, like my my mobile home park to be exact, it would make sense if they picked up and they stopped at the office and they said, oh, okay, well, this is where we pick up, and then they try to find the location from there. But no. My park, they go in and it takes them all the way to the left corner of the park when I'm all the way on the front right corner of the park. Why? And then they make me give them 3 or 4 different things that they have to do to be able to bring this, to get it back. Why not just move the pin and put it down? What does it take, 2 seconds? And you can't tell me you can't do that. I mean, let's be honest. And why isn't it the main office? Okay, they'd have an argument if it was the main office. Hey, we have the pin is on the main office, and then it goes from there. But why the pin is all the way on the left side of the back corner of the park, and I'm all the way on the right side of the front of the corner of the park, makes no sense. And not one person in here that has any kind of brain can make an argument to why that makes sense. Oh, well, in ancient times, we used to go left, and that's why we decided. There's not one reasonable, smart thing that can be said. If it was the main office, they'd have an argument, because I'd be like, okay, it's the main office, then it finds it from there, I get it. But it comes into the park and it goes all the way to the back left corner, and then they have to try to look at the things that I told them what to do, which they try to do, but they try to do them from that point instead of doing them from the front of the park, and they wonder why they can never find my spot in the park. You come in, you make a right, you make another right, you make another right, and it takes you right there. But when you try to do it from the back left corner, that takes you nowhere near there. So, I mean, come on now.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows. We had one more comment.
Thank you. So actually, Rideco, I would love to even talk to you
Sorry, you need
directly.
to state your name again.
Sorry, fantasy bias, round 3. Rideco, I'd love to talk to y'all directly. I know in Portland, I just recently was there like 6 months ago, maybe to a year. They said that recently had a policy to where they have to have at least one accessible van or option on there. Like I know MTM or like Humana, all these other medical services have an option where they have a van that takes one person. So I know we're getting the free rides on RTC, but when there's nothing to schedule and you can't schedule that next ride, that free ride is not going to be helpful and we're not going anywhere. So I'd love if Rideco can tell Uber or Lyft or somewhere in the valley some type of other transportation option where we can be almost, you know, like some type of other solution besides RTC, because it just feels like once we go there and then we're stuck there with no option, then we're really stuck at home. Other than that, I just wanted to say some quotes from other people that were not able to be here due to just the inaccessibility of trying to make it. So this one first goes, my paranoia is growing and I'd rather not be depending on RTC when I'm out and about if I can avoid it. The problem is being left behind. This other person says to me, hi Fantasy, I'm kind of anxious about using RTC for your birthday dinner because of the F1 traffic. I was kind of thinking it through and I don't know if I'm gonna be stuck and waiting for a long ride to get home late. I hate to miss out on your birthday dinner, but I think transportation situation is a little difficult with Monday traffic. I was stuck in an RTC not too long ago for 4 hours. Another person, well, you know, on the app it shows you what type of, or a power chair was trying to go on a new one of these vehicles. Again, why buy a new vehicle when a power chair can't even go on it? So a scheduler scheduled her a vehicle to get her, and they said, oh, we actually can't take you. Again, I don't know why a disabled service, transportation service is denying disabled people, but again, against the ADA, like, y'all gotta think legally, like, it's gonna be a big lawsuit on your hands if y'all are not understanding the consequences that come with us at dire states. Another one is, my bus driver is being a scary bad driver. Another one, years ago I was told the only way to propose expanding the service area is to include all of Summerlin, and now I have to fake an address just to get over that way to get to my family's house or come to a meeting once a year. Another one, if there's a council meeting or a letter/petition you'd like to start, count me in. I have 5 years of stories to tell and tears to shed. I'm tired of having mobility anxiety and being trapped in my own home as well. Another one, there should be a way to propose a passenger liaison position or a committee. They need to start telling us in more ways than just filling out a survey. Again, someone was saying, oh, we can't just have like people for free watching these bus stops or doing this or doing that. But at the end of the day, if people are using them and we want to be ambassadors and we want to be volunteers and we want to help y'all out, I'd be more than happy to be that person for y'all and be, you know, checking things and observing different things. Again, with the better performance, I know y'all are trying to say there's better performance, but as you know, and thank you for doing that, we have to ask these questions. It's not better than it was before. I'm not able to book a ride a day in advance like I was before. Even 48 hours sometimes is hard. So again, just thank y'all so much for both being here, but we gotta be honest and start working together.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who needs a portable microphone? If not, I'll go to Mr. Hennessy. who I would note is not just the driver.
Thank you. The elephant in the room, fare increases. I've been driving for going on 16 years and we've never raised fare. I've never experienced a fare raise as a driver. I think that's a good thing. So to all your comments, I think at some point in time, it's reasonable that we have a fare increase. I'm noticing on social media, on the news media, systems across the country are going away from courtesy rides because of their shortfall in upcoming budgets, much like our shortfall. The RTC has created 3 generations of passengers that live and die by the creed courtesy ride. The policy of the RTC and of the contractors: quote the fare and let them ride. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll give you a number. For me, and I think for every driver I talk to, 10 to 20 times a day per driver, there's requests for courtesy rides. That's a lot of fare. And you know what? Every time you say no, you're everything but a human being and are accustomed to verbal assaults, of which there's criteria for that. Let's look at what us drivers are going to have to go through when and if you decide to increase the fare, because the same people aren't going to pay that aren't paying now. So you need to change this arena. And the only way to do it is in 3 months, is for Mr. Atterbury to get with Intercom and to get guards on every bus physically enforcing the fare and not just telling people, don't worry, I'll get you on the next bus. All look into the numbers, guys. All those numbers that you got with people being put off buses, ask yourself the question, how many are being put on the next bus? Because that's happening by 80% of the Intercom guards. But I'm going to be selfish for me as a driver. I want to know what you're going to do now, and please put this in your notes so you can address it at the next meeting. What you're going to do now to end this courtesy ride that, honestly, you guys have created.
Thank you, Mr. Astor.
Good morning again. Noah Astor, NOA-ASTUR. First, I have to say a big thank you to Michelle and BOC. I don't often get a chance to say things like this, but she was on BOC and an operator found out her father passed away en route. Michelle stayed on the phone with the operator, talking, listening, and just simply being human. That's much like seeing a unicorn in where we work. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Company assumed operations back in July 23. Systemic failures in the operation of the transit system was then and continues now to cause great harm to the valley. Everything from missed, canceled service, consistent breakdowns, lack of manpower, insufficient training, and total disregard for operators. Company is at 65% RO duties. The drivers are completely burned out, which causes, among other things, accidents. A hostile work environment exists and is plagued with despair amongst those in its orbit. It's discipline heavy instead of nurturing with positive reinforcement. It is so discipline heavy, we are now being written up for having conversations with passengers. No complaints nor qualified incidents. It's AI generated and it's termed unprofessional behavior. It's to the point you are hesitant to drive or speak to passengers. Rash decisions are consistently made, one of which directly affects RTC's funding, which was rectified by the decision makers within a couple days. The domino effect of this flagrant disregard to the system is to this detriment of the riding public. The passengers who are residents of the valley, encompassing all districts, who rely on the transit system to live their lives, are the ones that continuously suffer the chaos and disorder as a direct result of the inability to provide reliable, safe service. In turn, we as a transit system have lost the public's trust, something we need. The ongoing systemic failures not only affect the operators, mechanics, fuelers, and cleaners along with RTC's reputation and everyone sitting in front of me. It also directly impacts the economic growth and stability of the valley. Residents lose their employment not because of bad performance issues, but rather unreliable public transportation. To that end, we all understand fare increase needs to happen. It's something that just hasn't happened in over a decade. It's necessary. However, some way to pad the shock to the riding public, fix the service. We have unreliable service and you're asking people to pay more for it. The other part of that is the free rides. They have to stop. More than 20 a day I get, easily 50 to 60 in one day. That's a lot of money we lose. And I get it, times are tough, but we need to fix this as a whole, not just as one segment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosser. Next speaker, please.
Steve Brewer, 6209 Hale Haven Drive. Okay, this is more of a RideCo thing. Shared rides. I understand shared rides. Like I said, my son rides with the RTC and does paratransit. But when we live on Washington and Hollywood, and all of a sudden he's out on Jones and Lake Mead, why are you guys taking him from UL to be the wrong direction to get him home? You guys are talking about cost of, you're driving the wrong direction to get a person home. There are other buses that you can work things to. Make it so it's so it's real, not putting them on the bus for 2.5 hours when it's an hour, when it's at the tops an hour ride, even with extra stops. The other thing is my wife works for Progressive Choices. They're turning into a laundry down there because they pick people up and they're on the bus for 2.5 hours and they're washing their clothes because they have accidents on the bus when they're getting to work or when they're getting to the workshop. I mean, something's got to happen. It's just wrong. And it's detrimental to the client's mental health. I mean, coming to work soiled because they spent 2.5 hours on a bus. Something needs to happen. Thanks.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Monica Anderson. I really just have a RideCo question because my aunt does ride with Paratransit. And it's weird because she actually has the issues where too many drivers are coming. She'll get a bus and then she'll also get a silver ride. And then she also uses it for her medical appointments. So at one point in time, TransDev has pointed her because her medical appointment ran long because we've all been to the doctor. Even if you have that first appointment, they're running 30 minutes late. She goes right here to the Cleveland Center and they get behind. I don't know if you guys know what the Cleveland Center is, but it's a neurological building. And so my question is, if the rider is going to be late with the transportation back home, is there somewhere in the app for them to be able to make a comment or a note about that versus her having to call in and then get pointed, then she gets stranded, and I, as a fixed route driver, am unable to come and pick her up until she has to pay out of pocket for her own Lyft or Uber or whatever to get back. So that would be something to include in the update to make it better.
Thank you. And as you know, we can't respond here, but if you want to talk to Ms. Braddock, she might be able to give you an answer sooner than that. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Norma Wood again, Norma Wood, and I didn't get a chance earlier, but I just wanted to say that I totally agree with what that woman back there in the glasses said about the 15-day pass that they're trying to eliminate. She's absolutely correct. I couldn't have said it better myself. It is going to be, if we have to buy 2 one-week passes, it will be a 50% price increase for those needing the 15-day pass, and that's the pass I buy most often, because a lot of events, I work in Las Vegas, some of them only worked are 2-week events. Also, I do understand that rates probably do have to increase, but I also just want to remind everyone here, you probably already know, property taxes only can go up 3% per year for single-family homes. That's 3%. Some of these price increases that the RTC is recommending are 135% if you read between the lines. And I found it a little bit concerning that none of the slides that were presented here today mentioned the elimination of the 2-hour pass or the elimination of the 15-day pass. It wasn't on any of the slides. And had not this woman or the gentleman back here mentioned those eliminations, or I mentioned them, you might not even know about them. Also, the one last thing is that, now, I'm a layperson when it comes to budgeting. However, it is my understanding that Nevada is only one of 3 states out of all 50 states that is not receiving federal funding for its public transportation systems. And if that's the case, I mean, I don't have evidence of this, but if that's the case, then I want to know why, and why we're not trying to get federal funding when New York is getting it and other big cities are getting federal funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. And thank you, sir, for being patient to wait around for this.
Yeah, at least you didn't kick me out. Stanton Holiday, I'm also a bus driver. And like I was going to say earlier, one thing I might recommend to you all, I would have some people with some rank and authority go out to the transit centers and the bus routes and talk to the people that are in wheelchairs and see what kind of information you get. I get a lot of bad information from people in wheelchairs. So that's my suggestion. The other thing, I disagree with the gentleman about free rides. I'm sure you all know there's been more than one bus driver fired because they got in fights trying to enforce the fare. And the question is, now me personally, I let them ride. I have very, 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 very little problems on my buses, okay? And so you got people on both sides of that issue, so don't assume that we're all on one side or the other. Me personally, and I drove 14 years in Illinois, I let people ride free when you wasn't supposed to, but it saved me a lot of trouble. So to me, it's not worth it. And real quick, as far as the Transdale's performance, personally, I think they did a better job than the other company. I'm a military person, okay? So when people complain about discipline, I don't get it. When I got here to Keolis, it was just a free ride for everybody, and personally, what I thought, they just didn't supervise. That's just my opinion. When Transdale got here, I think they were 300 to 500 drivers short. Then they had to get rid of 200 more. Now, these aren't facts, but this is what I get from other coworkers. So they were way in the hole when they got here because the other company did not do the job and they got fired. It's that simple. So they had to take us out of a deep hole when they got here. We had a lot of accidents last year. And again, they had to increase the discipline and the corrections. And I don't think we've killed anybody this year, but I think a lot of people died last year. They make corrective actions. And believe me, what I see is the other company didn't, and most drivers are not comfortable with basic discipline. So please think about, one more thing. I don't have time to look it up on my phone, but I saw on the phone that one thing we are number one in the nation is something about operational efficiency, okay? And we're number one in operational efficiency in the nation. So they basically took us from worst to first, at least in that category. So just take everybody into consideration, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Chad Dixon, D-I-X-O-N. Good afternoon. I am the Area General Manager for Transdev, the contractor for the fixed route operation. I wanted to take this opportunity to provide you with an update on a couple of important initiatives. Transdev has and always will be a champion for ridership accessibility and equality. Over the previous months, Transdev has made great efforts to improve ADA compliance within our operator base, ensuring safe and reliable transportation for everyone in the Valley. One of our main focuses has been stressing the importance of proper wheelchair securement, kneeling the buses, as well as correcting unwarranted pass-ups. In total, we have hosted 38 safety meetings since April. To relay topics to our operators, in these meetings and other employee engagement activities, we also stress that everyone within the organization be held accountable to deliver consistent and proper protocol for this initiative. Cross-department collaboration has been essential to ensuring that our ADA passengers are treated with the same respect as other passengers. Customer service has been taking special care with investigating reported ADA incidents, providing management with validated occurrences, enabling TransDev to deliver improvement to our performance in this area. Additionally, in observance of Mental Health Awareness Month, TransDev is engaging with our staff to ensure that each person has the tools and information to access resources offered through our healthcare network provider. Today, May 21st, as well as on May 28th, our account representative with Health Plan of Nevada will be joined by a member of their behavioral health organization team to present current offerings to our staff. These resources include mental health, substance abuse, and work-life balance. TransDev appreciates that in order for our team to care for our passengers in the city, we need to equip teams with the tools to help manage their mental well-being. Finally, I'd like to finish by just sharing that TransDev is filled with an amazing team of individuals that have deep expertise and take great pride in their work and in serving and connecting this community. As we head into the summer months, it'll be more critical and essential than ever that we deliver consistency and excellence in every area of our operation. My leadership team will be focusing on supporting our fantastic team more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Bernard Malamud again. I'd like to make a quick plug once more for zero fares, at least on the Red Line. It'll help the revitalization of Maryland Parkway, and where normally we don't think of there being a free lunch, there may be in this case, at least as it affects property values and property tax collections, which in turn could be channeled to the RTC. I understand there's already an issue or a practice of courtesy rides. Free fares may not be that unique, and I urge you to consider that firstly for the 109 or Red Line, where the passengers clearly would be disproportionately benefit. The passengers who would be disproportionately benefit are of low income, and secondly, because of the property tax implications that might follow from such a move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. If there's anyone else wishing to provide public comment, please line up.
Hello, Derek Dialli again. I just want to start off with saying that I'm not coming here to be prim and proper about this situation. These things affect me directly, and I'm highly frustrated with the fare changes. I know it may not look like it, but I have a chronic lung disease, cystic fibrosis, and I can't afford anything. Relating to that, I'm in an insurance limbo. I make too much money for Medicaid. I don't make enough money for an individual insurance plan. And you might be like, why are you talking about this? I'm talking about this because just to give you more clarity about the situation I'm personally in and probably other Nevadans are in, and maybe even worse. I personally really don't understand the logic of charging people more money for the same service that is not worth it at the end of the day. I still find it crazy that the $80 change it, $65 to $80, insane. And taking away the middle ground options from everyone is just screaming tone deaf to whoever collectively thought this proposal would go over well, especially in this economy. This economy that's already asking so much from us, the people. I appreciate anyone doing their jobs in these trying times. Trust, I have no issues with the bus drivers. Actually, why would I blame a bus driver for a system that they're also in that they have no control over? They're here just like us. But when will it be enough for us, the people, constantly getting charged more and more money for subpar services? I have a minute left. I wanted to bring up the Nevada Heat Day. Is that what it's called? I forget. It was like a little slideshow. I think you, Mr. Justin Jones, you brought up about a sauna or something. And my immediate rebuttal to that is, could y'all not just go outside? Could y'all not just go to a bus stop where it's like, it feels like a sauna instead of actually getting a sauna? You can literally just walk outside and it's 100-degree weather. And I brought up my CF for that reason, because I have to be in this weather. And when buses just decide not to show up, I know they don't decide not to show up, but when buses don't show up, they're not in service, I have to sit out there with my disease and just deal with it while higher ups are in a sauna simulating what I have to go through every single day. Also, because I want to bring this up, I have 30 seconds left. Data centers, I think data centers are probably why Nevada's getting hotter. Instead of, we're trying to figure out why the reason is, maybe we should go to the AI data centers and question them about why it's constantly getting hotter in Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Ramsey Mendoza. I don't understand that. I noticed the fare is only 5.4% of the budget. So I don't understand why there's such a need to raise it or to protect it using fare enforcement. You say you need to put guards at every bus stop to charge people the fare, and that you need to do that to pay for the security, who are actually referred to as fare enforcement. Oh, sorry. So I actually don't think having a fare at all is worth it. It'd be easier on the drivers, it'd be a lot easier on the people. I mean, I rely on courtesy rides sometimes myself. Without a courtesy ride, I've had to walk 5 miles. So I actually think there just shouldn't be a fare. I don't see what the worth of it is, really. You have a man with a gun standing next to the fare box so that you pay $2. It doesn't really make sense to me. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my wife rides Paratransit.
Can you state your name, please?
She's concerned.
Sir, you need to state your name, please.
David Matlock.
Thank you.
My wife, who rides Paratransit, is concerned that the loss of the 22 ride will disenable her to use most of her rides are medical rides. And I think it might artificially decrease ridership, not because of loss of demand, so it might actually not generate revenue losing the 22 ride. Most of my fellow employees at Opportunity Village do the 80-day ride thing, and that's very important, but also a lot of the other rides are medical rides, and by the time the 15th of the month runs around, we don't have any money unless we can buy the 22. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Morning. William Lynn, ATU President. I wanted to bring up a couple things. I know that fare increase is not going to be popular no matter what it is. I don't even think it's 5% of the budget, so it's obviously not going to get us out of this fiscal cliff that we're discussing anyways in the long run. I do know that we do have federal funding, but I think that we need to look more into state funding and stuff to try and actually handle the fiscal cliff, because 1%, 5% of that budget is really not going to help anything at the end. It's just a start. So I think we need to start actively really looking towards an actual goal that will assess and actually get us where we need to be. Because it's just the fare increase alone is not going to do anything to help us in the long run. So if you guys has come together to try and find other reasons, I think like state funding would also try and help us out on that note. As far as service, yes, definitely an inadequate ability. I don't know who said that Trash Dev knows how to do it. Last week alone, I spent more time sitting with drivers that were supposed to be en route, and buses that were empty in the yard. So I don't know where they think all this service that's happening is coming from. As far as the heat situation that you guys just went to, the sauna, whatnot, and whatever. So we had a major heat, what's the word, thing last week. Started on Saturday, went to Wednesday, our first 100-degree weather. The company was informed in our labor management meeting that they needed to have operators for water at least 3 days before said situation. Of course, Saturday I already knew they wouldn't be ready, so we had to bring our own coolers and water for them and then start making phone calls. The luxurious do-nothing Hannah didn't answer her phone on the weekend. That's great for labor management. Finally, I got a hold of Chad as I text the RTC. All of a sudden, people started answering, and then we're like, oh, there was water there. There's water coming. So I don't know what kind of great job they think they're doing, but it keep on proving to fail when you look at the actual service that you're getting. And if you're saying that you're getting a service that's better than that, like I said, I can spend more time sitting in that yard in the last 2 weeks talking to members than at any time. And there was no buses in the yard. And this was starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's not even peak hours. So, and not to mention the fact that safety, they just tried to cut your PTAS committee down to nothing. Luckily, the RTC involved themselves after multiple discussions.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn. If there's no one else for public comment, you'll be our last speaker.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm Jareth, J-A-R-E-T-H, Embry, E-M-B-R-E-Y. And I do appreciate how several of y'all have brought up about funding and how are we really going to handle this situation? Because we're all going through this in some way. And one thing I want to say is Las Vegas is one of the cities in the world. We need to have our place in the global marketplace on the table. Whether if LA needs something, Nashville needs something, New York City needs something, what do? They hound the legislators in their state or federally. They file lawsuits. They hammer the table. They do whatever they have to do to get that money. And a lot of times it's very annoying, but they get what they need in some sort of way. I believe that we can be a lot more assertive and make a very polished presentation that could be the envy of the world to say, hey, you want all these events here? You want to come here? We want to be the mecca of global entertainment. Well, we need everyone now. We need the state legislature. We need federal legislature. We have people from the president, the administration, they come here all the time. So no doubt that we can be in their ear and say, hey, we need this funding for a really good reason. And we can make a polished presentation, for example, with innovations like better communication between our drivers on and off the deuce routes. Those are our hot spots. So can we coordinate better between drivers so that our precious valued labor, whether in a union or not, can get home safely and to work safely and on time. And another thing also is the flow of the traffic lights. So many times where that bus is almost to the stop, but oh, they got to wait 3 or 4 more minutes at a red light. So can we better flow that so we can have hospitality as well as promote tourism in a way that promotes safety on the road? And so another thing too is how well, with 2/3 of the budget, coordinating with our contractors, how accountable we're holding our contractors. Is there things that we can do to be more diplomatic and efficient with our contractors? Because a lot of the fair discussion is resulting from things we could have done, for example, during COVID. We could have done a large-scale revamp of construction on our roads and our infrastructure. Of course, I obviously understand federal and state kind of limited y'all's ability to do that. So what could we do to be more assertive and say, no, you prevented us from doing what we needed to do in our city during COVID. Like now we're dealing with the cascading effects of crumbling some parts of our infrastructure, roads not being in the condition they need to be, our fleet is not fully upgraded, our labor is not being fully paid like they need to be. So what can we do now? Now state and federal, y'all need to be held more accountable. And what can we do to be more assertive, not only among you all, but the citizenry for us to come together? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I wanted to mention, I'm sorry, my name is Sherry Green. I wanted to mention about the RICO, the CEO that was here. One of the things I had a question about on the app is for the person that's legally blind, we have to use a voiceover function in order to understand what's actually being on the screen. And I noticed that the time that we schedule our buses is at the very end of the address. So when you're listening to that, that can be kind of cumbersome. And maybe, I don't know if it's a big deal or a small deal to kind of flip it. It'd be nice to hear that time at the beginning of the address when we're listening for the ride we're scheduling or the ride that's upcoming. Another thing I wanted to mention too was the app is pretty much blind friendly, but that depends on one's computer skills. If somebody is savvy with computers and technology, then yes, it can be very easy to navigate. But if you have somebody that is blind, on top of that is they're not tech savvy, it could be overwhelming. So something to think about. The last thing I wanted to mention is also about back when I first started with our paratransit, there was no lift on demand. There was no silver ride, no user ride. So it's impressive to have those things. But I also say that we're also a growing city, a growing valley, and people that are outside that 3/4 mile bus stop that need paratransit, that really qualify and are eligible due to their disability, but because they live outside the range, we have the lift on demand, we have the silver ride, user ride. Can we please have those people get services possibly through those outlets? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close the second public comment period, and we are adjourned. Thank you everyone for being here, and we will make sure that you are all aware of Transportation Lobby Day up at the legislature to join us in lobbying our legislature.